Round 2.
Woo!
I'm so dumb because we ended early. I thought this started at 5:30. And so I got on at 5:30 and then I was like, why am I here right now? This is so weird. But oh well.
It's fine.
I'm just too prepared.
In between the last one and this one, I went and cleared off my car again.
You did?
Yes, I'm not dealing with that in the morning. I refuse.
Is it still snowing or has it stopped?
It's still snowing, but not big flakes.
Yeah. Mine is, yeah, I think it's just very slowly coming down now.
I'm hoping it will stop soon.
I know. The weather advisory warning thing said that it would let up, or that the advisory was over by 11 tonight. So I'm hoping that means that they're planning on the snow having been gone and them having plowed everything by 11, because I have to go into the office tomorrow morning.
I went to the school. Yeah, I got a text and it was all university operations are back to normal tomorrow. And I was like, what?
You're wait, I thought this was a big storm.
I was like, aren't the roads, if anything, the roads tomorrow are going to be way worse than the roads today because they're going to be ice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would think, but what do we know, I guess? Yeah, I'm really hoping that they've got it all plowed.
Same.
But
woohoo, 6 people.
You never know.
Beth isn't here.
I know she didn't come until a minute before the first time. I feel like it's pretty normal for her. Sweet. Going for round 2 today.
Round 2. Today is a day. With it being a snow day, everyone's at home, and you can see that we had a special visitor last time.
Yes, so fun.
Our special visitor is back in my office. He's
lovely.
Getting a book, so hopefully he's good while the older kids are shoveling and the husband is doing his thing and the dog is tucked away in his condo.
Yeah.
So
right.
Hopefully we won't have any interruptions this time.
Even if we do, I'm not too worried about it. We've all been there.
I thought it was cute how he was where's the shovel? And you're outside by the door. And he goes, where? You're I'm outside.
And then he was like, yeah, that's where I thought. And I'm like, well, why didn't you look there?
This was a great conversation. Thank you.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's so fun. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good to let everyone in and start getting their audio going.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Wow, you got connected to your audio so fast. That was awesome. Welcome to our February workshop. We are so glad you could join us on the snowiest of snow days that we've ever seen. We hope that you've all been safe and that you've been hopefully hunkering down at home. You've been able to do that for the day because it's kind of crazy. But we are just going to jump right in because we have a few announcements and then we have an awesome speaker. So yeah, we're just going to go for it. Welcome. It is February. We're going to be talking about how to be a community champion. And my name is Sydney, for those of you who don't remember. We are going to get started with, I will share our QR code for our attendance. You should also see that QR code in the chat, or sorry, you should see the link that this QR code leads to in the chat as well. So again, like if you've come to a few workshops, you probably know this, but when people join late onto a Zoom call, they can't see the chat that has been used or that has been put in before they join. And so if you see that our Women Who Succeed chat or account is putting in that link, the February Mentee workshop attendance form link, multiple times, it's just because we have new people that join and we want to make sure that they get access to that link as well, so that they can put their name in, so that we can take attendance and put their name down for the drawing for the $100,000 or so, wow, $1,000 scholarship. That'd be something. $1,000 scholarship for the end of the year. Just as a reminder, we're going to do that drawing right at the end of the April workshop, which is our last workshop for this program year. And we're going to kind of announce that. So every time you come to a workshop, your name gets entered in one more time for that drawing. So be sure to fill out that attendance form while we're here, because the attendance form closes at 7:30 p.m. today. So you gotta get it in while you're here. Okay, so while you are, oh, whoops, sorry. This is the correct link, my bad. This is the Mentee one, but I know if you're a mentee or junior mentee, so don't worry about it too much if you already filled out the one from that QR code. But okay, so you should have filled out that attendance form. We are so lucky today. We've got an awesome speaker, Beth Martial, who is one of our mentors and members of Women Who Succeed. And before we get her started, we have another program manager from our foundation, from the Success in Education Foundation. Her name is Maddie, and she is here today. She just wants to talk a little bit about the esports, the Kangaroo Esports Spring Celebration event that's happening on March 10th. You might be familiar with this. I've sent out a few emails. It's been in our newsletters advertising this free event. And so I'm going to turn it over to Maddie right now to tell you a little bit more about it and to extend that invite to you to join us there as well.
All right, thanks, Sydney. Like she said, I am the Kangaroo Esports Program Manager. My name is Maddie. I'm happy to be here with you guys today. Hopefully you guys have gotten the invite to this event before. Like Sydney said, it's the Kangaroo Esports Spring Celebration on March 10th. It's during the day. It's on a Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But we hope you'll join us there, even if you have a busy Friday schedule normally. It is the statewide esports finals at the junior high and high school level for Mario Kart, Super Smash, and Rocket League. So the top 12 schools throughout the entire state will be joining us for those 3 games and competing in finals, while a STEM-centered conference goes on around them at the Huntsman Center and some surrounding buildings. So if you are interested in attending, there is that link there at the top that you can register with, and you might be lucky enough to hear from our keynote speaker, who is Doug Bowser, who's the president of Nintendo America. He graduated with his MBA from the U, so we are so glad to have him back at his alma mater to be able to hear his experience leading a global company. So if you find yourself there, we'd love to have you either register as an attendee using that first link and the QR code, or if you are interested in event management and working on things from the inside, we have a volunteer form bit.ly link down there at the bottom. So either register as an attendee at the top one or as a volunteer in the bottom one, but we'd love to have you there that day in any way you can and to get to experience some of the things that esports has to offer.
Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. It's going to be so much fun. We are going to have our whole Women Who Succeed team there, our whole Success in Education Foundation there. So if you were at the Women Who Succeed conference in May, You've met a lot of our team members. All of us are going to be there with this esports spring celebration, and it's going to be a huge event. It's going to be so fun. So please consider coming. It is, again, March 10th from 8 to 5. So we are super excited to have this opportunity, and we hope to see some of you there. So awesome. Okay, so before we get started with our workshop, we are going to take our picture, our obligatory monthly photo screenshot. So please put your or turn your cameras on, and we are just going to take, let's see, we're going to take our picture, and then we'll get into it. Awesome. Okay, everyone, smile. There's only one page, so it's just a second. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, just in case. Lovely. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so today we are so grateful to have Beth Martial, one of our Women Who Succeed members / mentors, speaking to us today about being a community champion. So with that, I will turn it over to Beth. I'll let her introduce herself a little bit. And to our mentees, I would ask that you participate in any discussion and draw any information to kind of keep things exciting. We want to do this to help you. We don't want to do this just so you have one more thing to do. So please participate as much as you can so that we can make this as beneficial for you as possible. And with that, Beth, I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. Hey all, happy afternoon or early evening. It's really awesome for you to be here with all of you. I am going to go start sharing my screen, and really excited to introduce myself. No doubt throughout this presentation, you're going to learn a lot about me, and I'm going to learn hopefully a little bit more about you. So as Sydney said, please go ahead and engage with me. And we'll kind of go from there. And so let's see here, I'm trying to get everybody on my screen. It's hard to do with all the functions. All right, so here we go. This month, February. From what I know with engaging with my mentees, we've reflected on female figures that you have admired. So qualities and characteristics of your role model. You have explored what community means to you, and maybe you've taken inventory of the different clubs or organizations or community events that you are already belonging to or would like to belong to. And if you haven't, that's okay. I'm here though to nudge you to consider serving. And I'm hopeful that you will think about the why you would even consider engaging in the community. So hello, I'm Beth Martial, and today I'll share personal stories, lessons learned, and best practices, advice, and tips that I feel may be helpful for getting more involved in the community and contributing to society. So sound good? Maybe sounds good. I'm going to just try to have mind reading abilities. So here we go, a little bit about me. So the fabric of my life. So last year, I was serving as recently in Sheet Tech as one of a one-off volunteer opportunity. I also served as a volunteer at the Salt Lake Airport, serving military service members at USO, or otherwise known as the United Services Organization. And I'm currently on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Utah. Once upon a time, I was a little, and that felt really good. And my prior volunteer pursuits has been inclusive of the University of Utah Bennion Center Advisory Board member, a partnership community leader, and serving in the University of Utah Neighborhood Partner Steering Council. I was also appointed to the MLK Junior Human Rights Commission by the governor as a commissioner in our state of Utah. So it's been fun. Those smiles on those pictures are genuine. They weren't necessarily candid shots. It's something that really makes my heart warm and smile. Other things that I've done, I've assisted adult refugees and immigrants with achieving their U.S. citizenship. I've taught parents and grandparents and guardians and kinship the English that's necessary to communicate with a child's school, right? To register them, read a report card, understand how to navigate the American school system and what to do, like if their kid's getting bullied or something of that nature. I've hosted home hospitality meals for change makers that come all over the world and travel to Salt Lake. And that's been pretty joyous. And one of my favorite things to do is connecting with people over a good meal. What else have I done to try to be a community champion? I've painted Title I middle schools and community-based organizations. I've weeded at local health clinics. I've been on tour with the U.S. Department of State U.S. Speaker Series circuit to share about American culture overseas. I've been a host family. I've provided transportation for survivors of domestic violence, have joined my local community council in Midvale, Utah, and I put together boxes of food and distributed food at local food pantries. So why am I sharing all of this? Like, it's not necessarily just like a resume, but I'm trying to give like an example of different things that people can do. And for me, serving the community is my personal mission. Why? I think that's something really important for all of us to know, like, why do we make the choices that we make? And for me, it started really pretty young. And I'll share about that in a little bit. But for me, like, the world is a difficult place. It's a painful place. Like, I don't like reading the news. In fact, like, I don't even watch the news on the TV. I don't like the sound bites. I don't like the audio clips. Like, I'll read from different sources, but I want to then be able to provide a balance, a harmony, an opposite interconnected force to make my, what I can do better than I found it, right? My area better than what it currently exists. And so there's a lot of opportunities to choose from. I'm sure you already know that, right? So opportunities to choose from, like, there's a group of options that I've already mentioned. And through this exploration, I've been able to identify what tugs at my heartstrings. And I choose now where I want to spend my time. And my time is very valuable. My energy, my time. And so, we work, or we go to school, or we have a family, or we have, hopefully, our social interactions. And so there's a nugget of time that's pretty valuable. And so I take that time and really try to think about how I can benefit the community that will make my heart smile. All right, so here's the thing. Let's think about who's here. I'd like to share a little bit about when I started volunteering. I started volunteering in middle school. I was an usher at a performing arts center, and then I also went to the local library to reshelve books. My family moved from the Chicago area to that of the Oregon coast, and I felt very paralyzed by that. I didn't necessarily feel like I had a community, and so what could I do about it? And I feel very action driven, and that's why I decided to start reaching out and learning about the community around me in different ways. It was there then in high school that I joined a lot of clubs that I could join without jeopardizing my grades and my jobs. I was fortunate to have some career education credits where I was able to work and get school credit for that too. And so when I was doing all of this, I also served as a swim team manager. I really wanted to be on the swim team, but I just didn't feel very confident about doing it. So that was a way for me to be involved. I served on the student body council where I assisted with event planning, right, with dances and choosing themes and decorating them and graduation preparation and overall communications. During that time, I also joined what was called Youth for Peace. And we peacefully protested for land that, for wild refugees, for birds and animals. And I remember writing the White House on, different matters as related to, conflict resolution where we were at in different spaces at that time. It was like the Gulf Storm and otherwise. During that time too, I occasionally went to the nearby Head Start classrooms where I totally remember making this huge mess of like shaving cream and food coloring and just having a blast with the kids there, making art and otherwise. It was there in Oregon that I was exposed to the Japanese language, and I created a Japanese club where we celebrated holidays and ate sushi and other food, and really honored the culture by going to an Asian festival that was about an hour away at Oregon State University. And it was super amazing to be able to build something that people really wanted to participate in. Because what I learned early on, language and culture really kind of flowed together. The other things that I've done too was like performed as a juror or a lawyer through a teen court system that intersected with the juvenile justice system. And as I continue to age, which goes by really pretty rapidly, I really wanted to make sure that the fabric of volunteering really stayed at my core, something I've really enjoyed. And so as an adult, I connected with putting together an organized global community summit where we brought in an international hip hop artist that has performed with Alicia Keys and connected with George Clooney and has won the African MTV Music Awards and otherwise. I've mentored for refugee families from Catholic Community Services and have served on a number of different boards. I've tried to donate blood. That just hasn't really been successful for me, even though I've done my best. I've joined political campaigns because I feel like sometimes policy and the policymakers really are the ones who can make a difference. And here's the thing, there's other times when I've hosted a neighborhood kind of porch concert so I can just connect with my fellow neighbors that have really lifted us up through COVID and otherwise. So, okay, it's not a resume about me, and here you are, not many of you on camera. And so it's not about me, it's about you. So let me push you to kind of engage a little further. If you can take a moment, come off camera or unmute or put in the chat, what have you done to serve the community? I would love to know, because it's also like super inspiring. And I think that can inspire other people who are joining us here together. Let's go ahead and take a couple of moments.
Can you see me? Okay, perfect. I could tell. I'm like on my phone, so I can tell if I'm like the right direction. But something that I've been doing recently is Chris and Andreas. I got to know her a little bit, and she's been working with like the policy project for the teen center. And so I've been going to a couple of those things, and that's been super fun. And it's been really just exciting to like just kind of get out of my comfort zone and try something new. And I don't know, I had like never really done anything like that before in that capacity. And we went to the Capitol the other day, and kind of just like what you're talking about, like we learned about the policies and how they're made, and just it was a really good thing for me to kind of learn about, and especially thinking like in the future, if there's other things that I ever want to make a difference or kind of fill the gap, like what can I do and how can I get started on that? And I think that that was like a really good stepping stone for me to want to do more things in the future.
I love that, Lily. And it looks like, Hannah has put something in the chat that kind of, sparked some maybe kind of connection there too, thinking about how she's helped her representative put together some town halls. I think that's amazing. Seeing some really cool things that you guys have done, from like food bank, podcasts about like mental health. How amazing is that? What we've just mentioned about Hannah, working with different clubs and students, projects, animal shelters. Lily, we're eavesdropping on your conversation if you're having one with somebody else there. Thinking about like school supplies and the kits, and yeah, lots of school stuff that I'm seeing here. individuals who don't have health insurance, which, by the way, if you call 211, there is some insurance navigators that can connect people up accordingly from marketplace to otherwise, and they can help them through that process. The community, the homeless, people who are experiencing homelessness. This is super awesome, helping people with disabilities and English language learning. Like, this is super amazing. I hope that you guys are feeling inspired and saying like, oh, you know what? I haven't done that for a while. Maybe I want to do it. And here's the thing too, there's a number of us on the call. And if you're new to volunteering, ain't no thing, no problem. Because here's the fun fact. If you have lived outside of Utah, like I have, you might know that most people start volunteering when they're adults. So most people, when they have their own kiddos and they're trying to figure out how to have that socialization and that group teamwork experience and whatnot, they tend to put their kids in like some sports. And so chances are they're going to be asked to be like a coach or an assistant to like their kids' soccer team or otherwise. That's kind of the norm outside of Utah. But here in Utah, this is a state with a profound volunteer spirit. It's interwoven in the fabric of our communities. And for sure, sometimes there's a desire in our hearts to do something, but serving the community can be overwhelming. So if you're new to volunteering, or maybe you just haven't found your jam, like the question could be like, where do you start? Like, where do you like to volunteer? And are you even in a community that has like options available, right? So one of the places that I will put in the chat box is Utah has a really great website called Just Serve. Ta-da, there it is. And outside of Utah, so if like you're flirting with like the state boundaries and you're up kind of over by Idaho or over by Wyoming, or maybe, by Nevada or something, like there's local United Ways, 211, I've mentioned already, that's a health and human services organization. Websites like Volunteer Match, volunteer.gov, they all list out different options, and something that I want to make sure that I put on your radar. Okay, so beyond that, like, love how we can get connected more to the community and the things that you're already doing. And so for me, as I've gone through this like huge journey about volunteering, again, that why is something really important. Like, it's awesome to volunteer. And I've done some like international humanitarian gigs that have kind of left me feeling like, oh, like, I feel like that really that was more for me than for the community. And so like, I feel like it's important to know why you want to do it. Is it a resume builder? Is it a network of connections, right? Like, so stop and ask yourself though, like, what is it that the community is asking for? And like, what do you hope to get from this experience? Like I've shared already, like, I legitimately want to make the world a better place. I mean, but I can't do everything, right? And so what can I focus in on? A lot of my efforts really revolve around English language learners, or people who are immigrants or multicultural. And then in addition to that, like thinking about having this like really authentic experience where it's not just checking a box, but it's really like organic. If it's like growing a skill, stepping outside and kind of going outside of your comfort zone, like that all makes good sense. But like, reflect on it. And is that something that you want to do or not? So these are kind of some things that I really would, really like to kind of put out there explicitly. All right, but let me kind of move on. You've already kind of mentioned, and I encourage you to put in the chat box too, right? The benefit of volunteering. So here's the thing. You all are really remarkable. You're in this incredible program. You're here. You're going to school. You have family relationships. You have your friends. You have all of these things. And you know what? You only have 100% to give. So if you're not volunteering, how can you engage in the volunteer realm? What is the trade-off? Like, what is going to give? So Do you already have too much on your plate? Yeah, totally. We all do. But here's the thing, you don't have to go big to make a difference. Like sometimes I think, oh, I need to give like X amount of dollars to like make a difference. No, I don't. That's just my own expectation. And being on the receiving end of receiving funds for organizations I've led up, I'll tell you some of the most enduring, like really warming feelings is when you get like the $15 or $5 donation, because like you can tell that people just really want to do something. So you can give intentionally with quality and not quantity. And since you're here today, perhaps you're all seeking inspiration. So in front of you is like this list of a small list of other benefits of serving that you might want to consider if you haven't already, or maybe it's just kind of a reconfirmation of it all. All right, what else do I want to share with you? The how. All right, well, for sure. It takes courage to leave your bubble, to try new things, to meet new people. Not everyone's an extrovert. Some people, right, are the most amazing introverts ever. And, you know, how do we set up ourselves for success in this kind of like dynamic, right? And so I challenge you to think too, not that it's a requirement. Consider who within your circle of family and friends might also want to volunteer with you and be out in the community, right? So especially as women, sometimes we have to like ask each other. And then, you know, volunteering provides these really incredible physical and mental rewards. Serving the community reduces stress, right? Experts report that when you focus on someone other than yourself, it interrupts this like tension producing patterns, right? It makes you healthier. It swings your mood to just like optimism and joy, and it strengthens your immune system. So those are some fun facts that I hope that you know of too. I know sometimes like when I signed up for volunteer opportunities and it's been a long day and I'm like, I don't think I have it in me. Like, I don't want to ghost the place. But I'll push myself to like keep on going. And I'll tell you, I kind of get this life high afterwards, to be able to be, you know, knowing that I contributed, and it really kind of fires me up. And I would like to think that can happen for others as well. Okay, so what happens if you don't have any time to give? Like donating, as I was kind of mentioning before, to causes that you care about not only benefits the charities, but it could be deeply rewarding for you too. Am I saying that you have to donate? No, maybe you're not in a position to do so. But as you anchor yourself and your foundation and what's really important to you, and the reason why you want to be able to maybe consider these possibilities, millions of people give to charities on a regular basis because they want to be able to support the causes that they believe in, as well as having a positive effect on their own life. My mother-in-law passed away from Alzheimer's, and you know, something that we really want to do is, while we might not be in a space to go on this walk, maybe we can give funds to help continue research around that, so other people don't have to have similar experiences like we've had, because it's pretty heartbreaking. So do I need to give $5,000 or $500? No, I give what I can. Is $5 or $50 enough? Like, for sure, right? So don't think you have to go big to go home with either time or resources. All right. So here's the other kicker about it all. For me, my journey has allowed me the chance to really meet remarkable people. It's been really a wonderful opportunity to understand my corner of the world a little bit better and to consider challenges that face us locally. And I strive to find women who continue to inspire me. So when I had a really good friend move to Utah when my family moved to Oregon. And when I visited her, I'm like, man, I want to get to Utah one day. And obviously it's happened. It was such a cool opportunity, but I didn't know the community. I felt like there are so many people who are kind of warning me about like how much of an outsider I would be. And I was just like, I wasn't hearing it. I wasn't having it, because I wanted to organically come into this space. And when I did that and started volunteering, and showing my integrity and my consistency of showing up and otherwise, my journey has also led me to some employment opportunities as well. And I suppose what I want to share is it's because sometimes it's not a matter of who I know, right? Like, but who knows me and what I stand for and how I do the work. And if my resume wasn't very deep with like connections here, that was a way that I could do that. Today, I'm really honored to be able to say that I'm part of the Prague Foundation. And in this position, I'm standing up the Prague Development Center. It's going to be located in West Valley City. And I feel like West Valley City is a city of tomorrow. And it is just a microcosm of Utah's future. It is so diverse in race and immigration and faith and economic and educational attainment. It's a beautiful, enriching place that I feel like doesn't get enough credit that it deserves. And so, you know, being in this particular space and going on the journey that I've been on, I can share with you too that I really wanted to build the capacity for organizations that are experts and do what they do and do it well. And so as I build out this cross-sector development center, and invite it into this space and learning from the community, we're working together with government, educational institutions, community-based organizations, the people, right? Like throughout all of West Valley City to really work together to catalyze systemic change for the residents. And it's awesome, right? So when I think about this too, part of the fabric of what we're doing is also building in opportunities for the community to volunteer there based on what their asset mapping is and what their needs are that they've been identifying. And so, you know, maybe my story is pretty unique, but I think that I'm able to improve lives, my own, right, and others, and bringing in some really cool things. And so as I continue or wrap up this particular talk, as a departing message, this might be cheesy. I've already said, like, I kind of like the cheese. Like, I want to invite each of you to imagine kind of where we're all at. So if you can give me a moment in the chat box, go ahead and tell me what county you're in. Where are you at in the state of Utah? I'm in Salt Lake County. Where are you? Awesome. So Salt Lake, Utah County. Weber's representing. Awesome. Cash. Whoop, whoop. That's cool. Okay. Davis. Awesome. We got a lot of people from Utah and Salt Lake. And here's the thing with that, we're not like Salt Lake centric, right? Or Provo centric in this way. But what I want to be able to share is that some of us might be over in Twilla or Tremonton, or we're in Logan or Richfield, down Monticello or Cedar City or Spanish Fork, right? Like from Pleasant Grove to the Ochre Mountains over to like, you know, Eastern Utah or otherwise. Like, I want you to imagine each of us building like a spider web together. You can think of it as like a Spider-Man kind of thing where you have like, here you go, there's a string coming out at your wrist and we're connecting with each other. And it connects to not only us and each other, but every organization that we are connecting with, right? Every organization that we're giving time to, that we're serving, that we're donating to, and like see that web. That web is like spanning across all these places that we just had mentioned. And then to determine like how deep and strong we can build together, we create a safety net or like a safety web. You get to create something really beautiful. And it's at this time, like I want to be really explicit to remind you that, you know, you building a web is for you, but it's for your community, and you build that web, and it takes time. And your actions, either large or small, will affect you and everybody else. There's kind of like this psychological interstitching of our spirits and actions that can really allow us in the community to be built together, and where we have the boldest version of what tomorrow may be. If we don't do that, who's going to do it? Right? So as you do, please feel free to connect with me, as I'm here really championing for you. And with that, Sydney, that's my presentation, but I'm happy to open it up to like any questions if needed.
Thank you, Beth. That was awesome. Does anyone have any questions? You can throw them in the chat. You can come off mute. Any questions for Beth? Cool. Okay, well, if any come up, once again, I say this every month and I'll continue to say it. Find Beth on LinkedIn. You can ask her those questions yourself and connect with her that way. It's a great way to widen that, or I guess extend that web for you, and also for your network. So be sure to do that. Thank you again, all of you, for coming. My only thing before we set you loose, give you some extra time in your evening tonight. Please remember to reapply to be a mentee for next year. We would love to have you again. And then we can always use your friends or anyone that you think would benefit from a program like this. And so I've thrown that in the chat, that link to reapply if you haven't already. So please consider doing that, and continue to be safe while there's still snow all over the ground and it's really cold. Let us know if there's anything that we can do for you. Continue to talk to your mentors. We have March and April are the last 2 months of our program. So we've got 2 more mentor meetings and 2 more workshops to look forward to. But until then, I will let you go. Beth, thank you again so much. Thank all of you for coming and being here and participating. And I hope you guys have a great night. It was great to see you all. Bye.
Thank you.